What's up, everybody? It's the Digital World Podcast. And if you're not ready for for food rationing, well, you better get ready because it's coming. And a lot of what's taking place is, for example, with the supply chain and with the association of the Fed going burr and printing a lot of money and a variety of other factors, you're going to see that when all things break loose and nothing is working, and the only option is to print into infinity, that's what's going to happen. If you guys saw the full video that I presented um, in the video yesterday from Mike Maloney, you'll see that he talks about how people at first in his book Gold and Silver, and I'm not entirely sure of the full title, but it was an excerpt from that book about gold and silver investing. And from that book, he said that when all these people start to realize that, especially the baby boomers, that their 401ks and all their investments is not going to be able to give them a comfortable retirement, they'll start to sell off to try to, at least have some money. And when they realize how it's not enough, they'll begin to panic. And as our economy starts whirling upside down, these, central planners are going to do everything to stop that. And that's when, if you know what MMT is, modern monetary theory, it essentially is, let's just print into oblivion. And that's a very, very simplified version of it. But when that happens, you're going to start to see the price of goods increase dramatically, just like it did in Weimar Germany. And Mike Maloney believes that a deflationary period will be followed by a hyperinflationary period. And when that comes, I don't know. But what you can expect is food rationing. Here, if you remember, when Jen Psaki, I believe her name is, spokesperson for the president, she was saying how inflation is a high-class problem. She explained the higher prices are merely a sign that economic activity is picking up. People are buying things, and that's good. Of course, that pushes up prices. She said, just deal with it. And this statement here is I mean, we're living, it's almost like an illusion. Truth, facts, morality, these things matter less and less in current day America. Your misery is an illusion. Losing your job because you don't want the medicine, hey, that's the price you pay for non-compliance. And it says expect no sympathy from anyone in charge. And he goes on to say that someone who wrote on the Washington Post, Micheline Maynard, excuse me. Oh man, he writes here that she is saying time for some new, more realistic expectations. He said we need to consciously lower our expectations right here. And she said she said American consumers might have been spoiled, but generations of them have also dealt with shortages of some kind. Gasoline in the 70s, food rationing in the 40s, housing in the 20s. Now it's our turn to make adjustments. She said she is defending gas lines. More astonishingly, she is going on about the glorious suffering of wartime when food was rationed with rationing tickets. And then in this article, he goes on to point out that friends that he has in Texas, Florida, and South Dakota say, everything's normal here. But then he makes the point that we're all under the same monetary system. So whatever is affecting the rest of the states will come and affect Texas, Florida, and South Dakota. And if one state is lacking dairy, then that's also going to hit these other states. If gas shortages, car shortages, etc., that's going to be distributed through all the states. And some people just don't see it that way because what they see is what they believe. And sometimes that can be, or that can fool us. That's why it's important to be rational and logical and study these things. Because what you see is not always what is going on. You gotta, pierce the veil, look behind, and see what is going on, what is happening. And when you fail to do your due diligence, that's when you get blindsided. That's when the unexpected all of a sudden comes knocking on your door. And for people who don't want to wake up and see what's going on, their reality will be crushed, I guess. Sometimes they say reality is stranger than fiction. And in today's day and age, you can bet your bottom dollar that that's the case. So, as we head into very tough times, don't forget that the most important things for you to, keep on living are your food, water, and shelter. And shelter, like I always say, that can vary. But as long as you have food and water, you're on the right track. So I hope this episode has brought you some value. If you like this kind of content, subscribe to the channel. Share this video. Let others become aware. It's the Digital World Podcast, and I'll see you in the next episode.